Joshua chapter 1 Divine Promise of the Assistance. After Moses, the servant of the Lord, had died, the Lord said to Moses' aide Joshua, son of Nun, Moses, my servant, is dead, so now you and the whole people with you prepare to cross the Jordan to the land that I'll give the Israelites. Every place where you set foot I have given you as promised Moses. All the land of the Hittite from the wilderness and the Lebanon east to the great river Euphrates and west to the Great Sea will be your territories. No one can withstand you as long as you live. As I was with Moses, I'll be with you. I'll not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and stay fast so that you may give these people possession of the land I swore to their ancestors that I would give them. Only be strong and stay fast, being careful to observe the entire law which Moses my servant enjoined on you. Do not swerve from it either to the right to the left, that you may succeed wherever you go. Do not let this book of the law depart from your lips. Recite it by day and by night, that you may carefully observe all that is written in it. Then you will attain your goal, then you will succeed. I command you, be strong and stay fast. Do not fear nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So Joshua commanded the officials of the peoples, go through the camp and command the people, prepare your provisions. For 3 days from now you shall cross Jordan here, to march in and possess the land the Lord your God is giving as your possession, the Trans-Jordan tribes. Joshua addressed the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh. Remember what Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you when he said, the Lord your God is about to give you rest. He will give you this land. Your wives, your children, and your livestock may remain in the land Moses gave you here beyond the Jordan, but all the warriors among you must cross over armed ahead of your kindred, and you must help them until the Lord has settled your kindred and they like you possess the land the Lord your God is giving them. Afterward you may return and possess your own land, which Moses the servant of the Lord has given you east of the Jordan. They answered Joshua, we will do all you have commanded us, and we will go wherever you send us. As completely as we obeyed Moses, we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as God was with Moses. Anyone who rebels against your orders and does not obey all your commands shall be put to death. Only be strong and stay fast. Joshua chapter 2 Spy saved by Rahab. Then Joshua son of Nun secretly sent out to spy from the Shittim, saying, go look near the land and Jericho. When the two reached Jericho, they went into the house of the prostitute named Rahab, where there lodged. But a report was brought to the king of the Jericho. Some men came here last night, Israelites, to spy out the land. So the king of the Jericho sent Rahab the old, bring out the men who have come to you and entered your house, for they have come to spy out the entire land. The woman had taken 2 men and hidden them, so she said, true, the men you speak of came to me, but I did not know where they came from. At dark, when it was time to close the gate, they left, and I do not know where they went. You will have to pursue them quickly to overtake them. Now she had led them to the roof and hidden them among her stock of the flax spread out there. But the pursuers set out along the way to the fords of the Jordan. As soon as they had left to pursue them, the gate was shut. Before the spy lay down, Rahab went up to them on the ropes. and said, I know that the Lord has given you the land, that all dread of you has come upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land tremble with fear because of you. For ye have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites, beyond the Jordan, whom you destroyed under the ban. We heard, and our heart melted within us. Everyone is utterly dispirited because of you, since the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth below. Now then, swear to me by the Lord that since I am showing kindness to you, you in turn will show kindness to my family. Give me a reliable sign that you will allow my father and mother, brother and sister, and my whole family to live, and then you deliver us from death. You place our lives for yours. They answer her, if you do not betray our mission, we will be faithful in showing kindness to you when the Lord gives us the land. Then she let them down to the window with the rope, for she lived in a house built into the city wall. Go up into the hill country, she said, that your pursuer may not come upon you. Hide there for 3 days until they return. Then you may go on your way. They answered her, you are free of this oath that you made us take on rest. When you come into the land, you tie this scarlet cord in the window through which you are letting us down. Gather your father and mother, your brothers, and all your family into your house. Should any of them pass outside the doors of your house, their blood will be on their own hands, and we will be guiltless. But if anyone in your house is harmed, their blood will be on our heads. If, however, you betray our mission, we will be free of the oaths you have made us take. Let it be as you say, she replied, and sent them away. When they were gone, she tied the scarlet cord in the window. They went up into the hill country, where they stayed 3 days until their pursuers, who had sought them all along the road without finding them, returned. Then came back down from the hills, crossed the Jordan to Joshua son of Nun, and told him all that had happened to them. They assured Joshua, the Lord has given all this land into our power. Indeed, all the inhabitants of the land tremble with fear because of us. Joshua chapter 3 is the preparation for crossing the Jordan. Early the next morning, Joshua and all the Israelites moved from Shittim and came to the Jordan, where they stayed before crossing over. 3 days later, the official went through the camp and issued this command to the people: when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, which the Levitical priest will carry, you must break camp and follow it, that you may know the way to take, for you have not gone over this road before. But let there be a space for 2,000 cubits between you and the ark. Do not come nearer to it. Joshua also said to people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will perform wonders among you. And he told the priest to take up the ark of the covenant and cross ahead of the people. So they took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people. Then the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the sight of the whole Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. Now command the priest carrying the ark of the covenant, when you come to the edge of the water of the Jordan, there take your stand. So Joshua said to Israel, come here and listen to the word of the Lord your God. He continued, by this you will know that there is a living God in your midst. He will certainly dispossess before you the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Hivite, Perizzite, Girashite, Amorite, and Jebusite. The ark of the covenant of the Lord of the whole earth will cross the Jordan before you. Now choose 12 men, one from each of the tribe of the Israel. When the sole of the feet of the priest carrying the ark of the Lord of the whole earth touch the water of the Jordan, it will cease to flow. The water flowing down from upstream will halt in a single heap. The crossing began. The people set out from their tent to cross the Jordan with the priest carrying the ark of the covenant ahead of them. When those bearing the ark came to the Jordan, the feet of the priest bearing the ark were immersed in the water of the Jordan, which overflows all its banks during the entire season of the harvest. The waters flowing from upstream halted, standing up in a single heap for a very great distance indeed, for Adam, a city in the direction of the Zaretan. Those flowing downstream toward the salt sea of the Arava disappeared entirely. Thus the people crossed over opposite Jericho. The priest carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood on dry ground in the Jordan river bed while all Israel crossed on dry ground until the whole nation had completed the crossing of the Jordan. Joshua chapter 4 Memorial Stone. After the entire nation had completed the crossing of the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from the people, one from each tribe, and command them, take up 12 stones from this spot in the Jordan riverbed where the priests have been standing. Carry them over with you and place them where you are to stay tonight. Summoning the 12 men he had selected from among the Israelites, one from each tribe, Joshua said to them, go to the Jordan riverbed in front of the ark of the Lord your God. Lift to your shoulder one stone apiece, so that they will equal in number the tribes of the Israelites. In the future, these are to be a sign among you when your children ask you, what do these stones mean to you? You shall answer them, the water of the Jordan ceased to flow before the ark of the covenant of the Lord when it crossed the Jordan. Thus these stones are to serve as a perpetual memorial to the Israelites. The 12 Israelites did as Joshua had commanded. They took up 12 stones from Jordan riverbed as the Lord had said to Joshua, one for each of the tribe of the Israelites. They carried them along to the campsite, and there they placed them. Joshua set up the 12 stones that had been in Jordan riverbed on spot where the priests stood who were carrying the ark of the covenant. They are there to this day. The priest carrying the ark stood in the Jordan riverbed until everything had been done that the Lord had commanded Joshua to tell the people. Just as Moses had commanded Joshua, the people crossed over quickly. And when all the people had completed the crossing, the ark of the Lord also crossed, and the priests were now in front of them. The Reubenite, Gadite, and the half-tribe of the Manasseh armed marched in the vanguard of the Israelites as Moses had ordered. About 40,000 troops equipped for battle crossed over before the Lord to the plain of the Jericho for war. That day the Lord exalted Joshua in the sight of the whole Israel, and so during his whole life they feared him as they had feared Moses. Then the Lord said to Joshua, command the priests carrying the ark of the covenant to come out from Jordan. Joshua commanded the priests to come out from the Jordan. When the priests carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord had come out from the Jordan river bed, as the sole of their feet regained the dry ground, the water of the Jordan resumed their course and as before overflowed all its banks. The people came out from the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month and camped in the Gilgal on the eastern limits of the Jericho. At the Gilgal, Joshua set up the 12 stones that had been taken from the Jordan, saying to the Israelites, in the future, when your children ask their parents, what do these stones mean? You shall inform them, Israel crossed the Jordan here on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the wall of the Jordan in front of you until you crossed over, just as the Lord your God has done at the Red Sea, drying it up in front of us until we crossed over. In order that all the people of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, and that you may fear the Lord your God forever. Joshua chapter 5, right at Gilgal. When the old king of the Amorite to the west of the Jordan and the old king of the Canaanite by the sea heard that the Lord had dried up the water of the Jordan before the Israelites, until they crossed over, their heart melted and they were utterly dispirited because of the Israelites. On this occasion, the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives and circumcise Israel for the second time. So Joshua made the flint knife and circumcised the Israelites at Gibeah Halos. This was the reason for the circumcision of all the people who had come out of Egypt. Every male of the military age had died in the wilderness during the journey after they came out of Egypt. Though all the men who came out were circumcised, none of those born in the wilderness during the journey after the departure from Egypt were circumcised. Now the Israelites wandered 40 years in the wilderness until all the warriors among the people that came forth from Egypt died up, because they had not listened to the voice of the Lord. For the Lord swore that he would not let them see the land he had sworn to their ancestors to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. It was the children God raised up in their stead whom Joshua circumcised, for these were with a foreskin, not having been circumcised on the journey. When the circumcision of the entire nation was complete, they remained in the camp where they were until they recovered. Then the Lord said to Joshua, today I will remove the reproach of the Egypt from you. Therefore this place is called Gilgal to the present day. While the Israelites were encamped at Gilgal on the plain of the Jericho, they celebrated the Passover on the evening of the 14th day of the month. On the days after the Passover, they ate of the produce of the land in the form of the unleavened cakes and the parched grain on that same day. After they ate up the produce of the land, the manna ceased. No longer was there manna for the Israelites who that year ate up the yield of the land of the Canaanites, seized at Jericho. While Joshua was near Jericho, he raised his eyes and saw one who stood facing him, sword in hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, are you one of us or one of our enemies? He replied, neither. I am the commander of the army of the Lord. Now I have come. Then Joshua fell down to the ground in worship and said to him, what has my Lord to say to his servant? The commander of the army of the Lord replied to Joshua, remove your sandal from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy. And Joshua did so. Joshua chapter 7, defeat at Ai. But the Israelites acted treacherously with regard to the ban. Achan, son of the Carmi, son of the Zabdi, son of the Judah of the tribe of the Judah, took goods that were under the ban, and the anger of the Lord flared up against the Israelites. Joshua next sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is near Beth-aven and east of the Bethel, with the orders, go up and reconnoiter the land. When they had explored Ai, they returned to Joshua and advised, do not send all the people up. If only about 2,000 or 3,000 go up, they can attack and overcome Ai. You need not tire all the people, the enemy there are few. About 3,000 of the people made the attack, but they fled before army at Ai, who killed some 36 of them. They pursued them for the city gate to the Shebarim and defeated them on the descent. so that the confidence of the people melted away like walls. Joshua, together with the elders of the Israel, tore their garment and fell face down before the ark of the Lord until evening, and they threw dust on their heads. Alas, Lord God, Joshua prayed, why do you ever allow the peace people cross over the Jordan, delivering us into the power of the Amorites, that they might destroy us? Would that we had been content to dwell on the other side of the Jordan. Praise the Lord, what can I say now that Israel has turned in back to its enemies? When the Canaanites and the other inhabitants of the land hear of it, they will close in around us as efface our name from the earth. What will you do for your great name? The Lord replied to Joshua, stand up, why are you lying there? Israel has sinned, they had transgressed their covenant which I enjoined on them. They had taken good subject to the ban. They had stolen and lied, placing the good in their baggage. If the Israelites cannot stand up to their enemies but must turn their back to them, it is because they are under the ban. I will not continue to be with you unless you remove that which is banned from among you. Get up, sanctify the people, tell them, sanctify yourself before tomorrow, for thus says the Lord, the God of Israel. That which is banned is in your midst, Israel. You cannot stand up to your enemies until you remove it from among you. In the morning you must come forward by tribes. The tribe which the Lord designated shall come forward by clans. The clan which the Lord designated shall come forward by families. The family which the Lord designated shall come forward one by one. Whoever is designated as having incurred the ban shall be destroyed by fire with all that is his, because he has transgressed the covenant of the Lord and has committed a shameful crime in Israel. Achan's guilt and the punishment. Earlier the next morning, Joshua had Israel come forward by tribes, and tribe of the Judah was designated. Then he had the clan of the Judah come forward, and the clan of the Zerah was designated. He had the clan of the Zerah come forward by families, and the Zabdi was designated. Finally, he had that family come forward one by one, and the Achan, son of the Carmi, son of the Zabdi, son of the Zerah, the tribe of the Judah, was designated. Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the Lord, the God of the Israel, to praise him by telling what you have done. Do not hide it from me. Achan answered Joshua, I have indeed sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I have done. Among the spoil I saw a beautiful Babylonian mantle, 200 shekels of the silver, and a bar of the gold, 50 shekels in weight. I coveted them and I took them. They are now hidden in ground inside my tent with the silver underneath. Joshua sent the messenger and they ran to the tent, and there they were hidden in the tent with the silver underneath. They took them from the tent, brought them to Joshua and all the Israelites, and spread them out before the Lord. Then Joshua and all Israel took Achan, son of Zerah, with the silver, the mantle, and the bar of the gold, and with his son and the daughters, his ox, his donkey, and his sheep, his tent, and all his possession, and led them up to the valley of the Archos. Joshua said, what misery had you caused us? May the Lord bring misery upon you today. And all Israel stoned him to death. They burned them with the fire, and they stoned them. Over Achan they piled a great heap of the stone, which remained to the present day. Then the Lord turned from his anger. That is why the place is called the Valley of the Archos to this day. Joshua chapter 8, Capture of Ai. The Lord then said to Joshua, do not be afraid or dismayed. Take all the army with you and prepare to attack Ai. I have delivered the king of the Ai into your power with his people, city, and land. Do to Ai and its king what you did to Jericho and its kings, except that you may take its spoil and the livestock as plunder, set an ambush behind the city. So Joshua and all the soldiers prepared to attack Ai, picking out 30,000 warriors. Joshua sent them out by night. With these orders, see that you ambush the city from the rear. Do not be very far from the city. All of you must be ready. The rest of the people and I will come up to the city, and when they make a sortie against us as they did the last time, we will flee from them. They'll keep coming out after us until we have drawn them away from the city, for they will think they are fleeing from us as they did the last time when he fled. Then we rise from ambush and take possession of the city, which the Lord your God will deliver into your power. When you have taken the city, set it on fire in obedience to the Lord's command. These are my orders to you. Then Joshua sent them away. They went to the place of the ambush, taking up their position to the west of Ai, toward the Bethel. Joshua, however, spent the night with the army. Earlier the next morning, Joshua mustered the army and went up to the Ai at its head with the elder of the Israel. When all the troops he led were drawn up in position before the city, they pitched camp north of Ai, on the other side of the ravine. He took about 5,000 warriors and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai, west of the city. Thus the people took up their station with the main body north of the city and the ambush west of it. And Joshua waited overnight in the valley. The king of the Ai saw this, and he and all his army came out very early in the morning to engage Israel in battle at the place in front of the Arabah, not knowing that there was an ambush behind the city. Joshua and the main body of the Israelites fled toward the wilderness, pretending defeat, until the rest of the soldiers in the city had been called out to pursue them, since they were drawn away from the city, with everyone pursuing Joshua. Now the soldiers remained in Ai or better, they abandoned the city, leaving it open as they pursued Israel. Then the Lord directed Joshua, stretch out the javelin in your hand toward Ai, for I'll deliver it into your power. Joshua stretched out the javelin in his hand toward the city. And as soon as he did so, the men in the ambush rose from their post, rushed in, captured the city, and immediately set it on fire. By the time the army of the Ai looked back, the smoke from the city was going up to the heavens. Escape in any direction was impossible, because the Israelites retreating toward the wilderness now turned on their pursuers. For when Joshua and the main body of the Israelites saw that the city had taken by ambush and was going up in smoke, they struck back at the forces of Ai. Since those in the city came out to intercept them, Ai's army was hemmed in by Israelites on both sides, who cut them down without any fugitives or survivors, except the king whom they took alive and brought to the Joshua. When Israel finished killing at all the inhabitants of Ai in the open, who had pursued them into the wilderness, and all of them to the last man fell by the sword. Then all Israel returned and put to the sword those inside the city. There fell that day a total of the 12,000 men of the woman, the entire population of Ai. Joshua kept the javelin in his hand, stretched out until he had carried out the ban on all the inhabitants of Ai. However, the Israelites took for themselves as plunder the livestock and the spoil of that city, according to the command of the Lord issued to the Joshua. Then Joshua destroyed the Ai by fire, reducing it to the everlasting mound of the ruins as it remains today. He had the king of the Ai hanged on the tree until evening. Then at sunset, Joshua ordered the body removed from the tree and cast at the entrance of the city gate, where a great heap of the stone was piled up over it, which remains to the present day. Altar on Mountain Ebal. Later on the Mount Ebal, Joshua built to the Lord, the God of Israel, an altar of unhewn stone on which no iron tool had been used, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded the Israelites, as recorded in the book of the law. On this altar, they sacrificed the burnt offering to the Lord and made a communion sacrifice. There, in the presence of the Israelites, Joshua inscribed upon the stone a copy of the law written by Moses. And all Israel, resident alien and the native alike, with their elders, officials, and the judges, stood on either side of the ark, facing the Levitical priests who were carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Half of them were facing Mount Gerizim and half Mount Ebal, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had first commanded for blessing of the people of the Israel. Then were read aloud all the words of the law, the blessing and the curses, exactly as written in the book of the law. Every single word that Moses had commanded, Joshua read aloud to the entire assembly, including the women and the children and the resident aliens among them. Joshua chapter 9. Confederacy against Israel. When the news reached all the king west of the Jordan, in the mountain region and in the Shephelas, and all along the coast of the Great Sea as far as the Lebanon, Hittite, Amorite, Canaanite, Perizzite, Hivite, and Jebusite. They gathered together to launch a common attack against Joshua and Israel, the Gibeonite deception. On hearing what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, the inhabitants of the Gibeon, formed their own scheme. They chose a provision for the journey, making use of the old sack of their donkeys and old wineskin torn and mended. They wore all the patched sandal and the shabby garment, and all the bread they took was dry and crumbled. Thus they journeyed to the Joshua in the camp at Gilgal, where they said to him and to the Israelites, "We have come from a far-off land. Now make a covenant with us." But Israelites replied to Hivite, "You may be living in the land that is ours. How then can we make a covenant with you?" But they answered Joshua, "We are your servant." Then Joshua asked them, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" They answered him, "Your servants have come from a far-off land because of the fame of the Lord your God, for we have heard the reports of all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites beyond the Jordan, Sihon king of the Heshbon, and Og king of the Bashan, who live in Ashtaroth." So our elder and all inhabitants of our land said to us, "Take along provision for the journey and go to meet them. Say to them, 'We are your servant. Now make a covenant with us.' This bread ours was still warm when we brought it from home as provision the day we left to come to you, but now it is dry and crumbled. Here are our wineskins, which you were new when we filled them, but now they are torn. Look at our garment and the sandal. They are worn out from the very long journey." Then the Israelite leaders partook of their provision without inquiring of the Lord. So Joshua made peace with them and made the covenant to let them live, which the leader of the community sealed with an oath. Gibeonite made of basars. 3 days after the covenant was made, the Israelites heard that these people were from nearby and would be living in Israel. The third day on the road, the Israelites came to their city of the Gibeon, Chephiran, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But did not attack them, because the leader of the community had sworn to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, when the entire community grumbled against the leaders. These are all the remonstrated with the community which had sworn to them by the Lord, the God of Israel, and so we cannot harm them. Let us therefore let them live, and so deal with them, that no rest fell upon us because of the oath we have sworn to them. Thus the leader said to them, let them live and become hewers of wood and draw up the water for the entire community. So the community did as the leader advised them. Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said to them, why did you deceive us and say, we live far up from you, you live among us? Now are you accursed, every one of you shall always be a slave, hewers of wood and draw up the waters for the house of my God. They answered Joshua, your servant were fully informed of how the Lord your God commanded Moses in servant that you be given the entire land and that all its inhabitants be destroyed before you. Since therefore at your advance you are in great fear of our lives, ye act as we did. And now that you are in your power, do with us what is good and right in your eyes. Joshua did what he had decided while he saved them from being killed by the Israelites. At the same time, he made them, as they still are, hewers of wood and drew up the wall for the community and for the altar of the Lord in the place of the Lord's choice. Joshua chapter 10, the siege of the Gibeon. Now when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had captured Ai and put it under the ban, and had done to that city as kings as he had done to Jericho and its kings, and that inhabitants of the Gibeon had made their peace with Israel, remaining among them, there was a great fear abroad because Gibeon was a great city, like one of the royal cities, great even than Ai, and all its men were warriors. So Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent to Hoham, king of the Hebron, Piram, king of the Jarmuth, Japhia, king of the Lachish, and Dibur, king of the Eglon, with this message. Come and help me attack Gibeon, for it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. The 5 Amorite kings of the Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon gathered with all their forces and marched against Gibeon to make war on it. Thereupon the Gibeonites sent an appeal to Joshua in his camp at Gilgal, do not abandon your servant. Come up here quickly and save us. Help us, because all the Amorite king of the mountain country have joined together against us. Joshua victories. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with all his army and all his warriors. The Lord said to Joshua, do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your power. Not one of them will be able to withstand you. After an all-night march from Gilgal, Joshua made a surprise attack upon them. And the Lord threw them into disorder before Israel. The Israelites inflicted a great slaughter on them in Gibeon and pursued them down to the Beth-horon slope, attacking them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. While they fled before Israel along the descent of the Beth-horon, the Lord hurled the great stone from the heaven above them all the way to Azekah, killing many. More died from this hailstone than the Israelites killed with the sword. It was then the Lord delivered up the Amorite to the Israelites that Joshua prayed to the Lord and said in the presence of the Israel, sun, stand still at the Gibeon, moon in the valley of the Aizalon. The sun stood still, the moon stayed, while the nation took vengeance on its foes. This is recorded in the book of the Jasher. The sun halted halfway across the heavens, not the full entire day did it press on. Never before or since was there a day like this when the Lord obeyed the voice of the man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua and all Israel returned to the camp in Gilgal. Execution of the Amorite kings. The 5 kings who had fled hid in the cave of the Makkedah. When Joshua was told the 5 kings have been found hiding in the cave at the Makkedah, he said, roll a large stone to the mouth of the cave and post the guards over it. But do not remain to yourselves, pursue your enemies and harry them in the rear. Do not allow them to reach their cities, for the Lord your God has delivered them into your power. When Joshua and the Israelites had finally inflicted the last blows in this very great slaughter, and the survivors had escaped from them into the fortified cities, all the army returned to Joshua and the camp and the Makkedah in victory. No one uttered a sound against the Israelites. Then Joshua said, open the mouth of the cave and bring me those 5 kings from the cave. They did so. They brought out to him from the cave the 5 kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they brought the 5 kings out to the Joshua, he summoned all the army of the Israel and said to command of the soldiers who had marched with him, come forward and put your feet on the necks of these kings. They came forward and put their feet upon their neck. Then Joshua said to them, do not be afraid and dismayed, be firm and stay fast. This is what the Lord will do all the enemies against whom you fight. Thereupon Joshua struck and killed the kings and hanged them on 5 trees, where they remained hanging until evening. At sunset, Joshua commanded that they will be taken down from the tree and be thrown into the cave where they had hidden. Over the mouth of the cave, large stones were placed, which remain until this very day. Conquest of the southern Canaan. Makkedah too Joshua captured and put to the sword. At that time he put the city, its king, every person under the ban, leaving no survivors. Thus he did to the king of the Makkedah what had done to the king of the Jericho. Joshua then passed on with all Israel from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. And the Lord delivered it with its king into the power of the Israel. He put it to the sword with every person there, leaving no survivors. Thus he did this to king its king what he had done to king of the Jericho. Joshua next passed on with all Israel from Libnah to the Lachish, where they set up on the camp during the attack. The Lord delivered the Lachish into the power of the Israel, so that on the second day Joshua captured it and put it to the sword with every person in it, just as he had done to Libnah. At that time Horam, king of the Gezer, came up to the help of Lachish, but Joshua defeated him and his people, leaving him no survivors. From Lachish, Joshua passed on with all Israel to Eglon, encamping near it. They attacked it and captured it the same day, putting into the sword. On that day he put under the ban every person in it, just as he had done at the Lachish. From Eglon, Joshua went up with all Israel to Hebron, which they attacked and captured. They put it to the sword with its king, all its cities, and every person there, leaving no survivors. Just as Joshua had done to Eglon, he put it under the ban and every person in it. Then Joshua and all Israel turned back to the Dibor and attacked it. Capturing it with its king and all its cities, they put to them the sword and put under the ban every person in it, leaving no survivors. Thus he did to Dibor and its king what he done to Hebron, as well as to the Libnah and its kings. Joshua conquered the entire land, the mountain region, the Negev, the Shephelas, and the mountain slopes with all their kings. He left no survivors, but put under the ban every living being, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua conquered them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza and all the land of the Goshen to Gibeon. All the kings and their land Joshua captured all at once, for the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. Thereupon Joshua with all Israel returned to the camp at Gilgal. Joshua chapter 11, Northern Confederacy. When Jabin, king of the Hazor, learned of this, he sent the message to Jobab, king of the Madon, to the king of the Shimron, to the king of the Ashifar, and to the northern kings in the mountain region and in the Arabah near the Chinniros, in the Shephelah, and in Nathdor to the west. These were Canaanite to the east and west, Amorite, Hittite, Perizzite, and Jebusite in the mountain region, and the Hivite at the foot of the Hermon in the land of the Mizpah. They came out with all their troops, an army numerous as the sand on the seashore, and with a multitude of horses and chariots. All these kings made a pact, and together they marched to the war of the Merom, where they encamped to the fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not fear them, for by this time tomorrow I will present them slain to Israel. You must hamstring their horses and burn their chariot." Joshua with his whole army came upon them suddenly at the war of the Merom and fell upon them. The Lord delivered them into the power of the Israelites, who defeated them and pursued them to the Greater Sidon, to Mizjaphos Mine, and eastward to the valley of the Mizpah. They struck them all down, leaving no survivors. Joshua did to them as the Lord had commanded. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariot. Conquest of the northern Canaan. At that time, Joshua, turning back, captured Hazor and struck down its king with the sword, for Hazor formerly was the chief of all those kingdoms. He also struck down with the sword every person there, carrying out the ban till none was left alive. Hazor itself he burned. All the city of those kings and the king themselves Joshua captured and put to the sword, carrying out the ban on them as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. However, Israel did not destroy by fire any of the cities built on their mounds, except the Hazor which Joshua burned. All the spoil and the livestock of these cities the Israelites took as plunder, but the people they put to the sword until they had destroyed the last of them, leaving none alive. As the Lord had commanded his servant Moses, so Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua acted accordingly. He left nothing undone that the Lord had commanded Moses should be done. Survey of the conquest. So Joshua took all this land, the mountain region, the entire Negev, all the land of the Goshen, the Shephelah, the Arabah, as well as the mountain region and the Shephelah of Israel. From Mount Halak that rises toward the Seir as far as Baal-Gad in the Lebanon valley at the foot of the mountain Hermon, all their kings he captured and put to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time. With the exception of the Hivites who lived in Gibeon, no city made peace with the Israelites or were taken in battle. For it was the Lord doing to make their hearts so obstinate to meet Israel in battle, that they might be put under the ban without mercy, and be destroyed as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time, Joshua penetrated the mountain region and exterminated the Anakim in Hebron, Debor, Anab, the entire mountain region of the Judah, and the entire mountain region of the Israel. Joshua put them and their cities under the ban, so that no Anakim were left in the land of the Israelites. However, some survived in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod. Thus Joshua took the whole land, just as the Lord had said to Moses. Joshua gave it to Israel as their heritage, apportioning it among the tribes, and the land had rest from war. Joshua chapter 12 list of the conquerors king. These are king of the land whom the Israelites conquered and whose land they occupied, east of the Jordan from the river Arnon to the mountain Hermon, including all the eastern section of the Arabah. First, the Sihon king of the Amorites who lived in the Heshbon. His domain extended from Aroer, which is one bank of the Wadi Arnon, to include the Wadi itself and the land northwards through half of the Gilead to the Wadi Jabbok at the border with the Ammonites, as well as the Arabah from the eastern side of the Sea of the Chinerites, as far south as the eastern side of the Salt Sea of the Arabah in the direction of the Best Jeshimoth, southward under the slope of the Pisgah. Second, the border of the Og, king of the Bashan, a suburb of the Rephaim, who lived at the Ashtaroth and the Edrei. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Salekah, and as Bashan as far as the boundary of the Geshurite and the Masakatite, and over half of the Gilead as far as the territory of the Sihon, king of the Heshbon. It was Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites who conquered them. Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave possession of their land to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of the Manasseh. This is a list of kings of the land whom Joshua and the Israelites conquered west of the Jordan, from Baal-Gad in the Lebanon valley of the mountain Halat, which rises toward Seir. Joshua apportioned their land and gave possession of it to the tribe of the Israel. It included the mountain region and the Shephelah, the Arabah, the slope, the wilderness, and the Negev belonged to the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and Jebusite. The king of the Jericho won, the king of the Ai, which is the near Bethel won, the king of the Jerusalem won, the king of the Hebron won, the king of the Jarmuth won, the king of the Lachish won, the king of the Eglon won, the king of the Gezer won, the king of the Dibor won, the king of the Gad won, the king of the Homar won, the king of the Aret won, the king of the Libnah won, the king of the Adulam won. The king of the Makkedah won, the king of the Bethel won, the king of the Tepuah won, the king of the Harphah won, the king of the Aphek won, the king of the Rosh Haran won, the king of the Madon won, the king of the Hazor won, the king of the Shimron won, the king of the Achishaphat won, the king of the Tanakh won, the king of the Megiddo won, the king of the Kadesh won, the king of the Joknim at Carmel won, the king of the Dor in Nagtas Dor won, the king of the Goim at the Gilgal won, and the king of the Tijar won 31 kings in all. Joshua chapter 13, division of the land commanded. When Joshua was old and advanced in years, the Lord said to him, though now you are old and advanced in years, a very large part of the land still remains to be possessed. This is the remaining land, all Geshur and all the district of the Philistines. From the stream adjoining Egypt to the boundary of the Ekron in the north is reckoned the Canaanite territory, though held by the 5 lords of the Philistines in Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. And where the Avim are in the south, all the land of the Canaanite from Mirah of the Sidonian to Aphek, and the boundaries of the Amorites, and the Gibeonite territory, and all the Lebanon on the east, from Baal-Gad at the foot of the Mount Hermon to the Lebo Hamas. All the inhabitants of the mountain region between Lebanon and the Mizraim force mine, all Sidonians, I will drive out before the Israelites, at least include this area in the division of the Israelite heritage, just as I have commanded you. Now therefore apportion among the 9 tribes and the half tribe of the Manasseh the land which is to be their heritage. The eastern tribes. Now the other half of the tribe of the Manasseh, as well as the Reubenite and the Gadite, had taken as their heritage what Moses, the servant of the Lord, had given them east of the Jordan. From Aroer on the bank of the Wadi Arnon and the city in the Wadi itself, through the tableland of the Madeba and the Dibon, with the rest of the city of the Sihon, king of the Amorite, who reigned in Heshbon, to the boundary of the Ammonite. Also Gilead and the territory of the Geshurite and the Makkatite, all Mount Hermon and all Bashan as far as Salekah. The entire kingdom in the Bashan of the Og, who was King Ashitaros and Edrei, he was on holdover from the remnant of the Rephaim. These Moses defeated and dispossessed. But the Israelites did not dispossess the Gershurite and the Makkatite, so that Gershur and the Makkahs dwell in the midst of the Israelites to this day. However, Moses assigned no heritage to the tribe of the Levi. The Lord God of the Israelites is their heritage, as the Lord had promised them. Reuben. This is what Moses gave to the tribe of the Reubenites by their clans. Their territory listed from Aroer on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city in the Wadi itself through the tableland about the Medeba, to include the Heshbon and all its town on the tableland, Dibon, Bamos, Bar, Besbar, Meon, Jahars, Demos, Mepars, Kiriataim, the Simar, Jeres, Shahar on the northwind valley, Beth Peor, the cellar of the Pishgar, Best Jeshimosh, and all the other cities of the tableland and of the whole kingdom of the Sihon, the Amorite king who reigned in the Heshbon, Moses had defeated. With the prince of the Midian and Vassar of the Sion, who was settled in the land, Elvi, Lakim, Jur, and Libah. Balaam, son of the Beor, the divine, the Israelite killed with the sword, together with those they struck down. The boundary of the Reubenite was the Jordan. This city and their village were the heritage of the Reubenite by their clans. Gad. This was the Moses gave no tribe of the Gadite by their clans. Their territory included the Zajor, all the city, all the Gilead, and half the land of the Ammonite as far as Aroer, toward the Rabbah. There is from Heshbon to the Lamas, Mizpeh, and Bethorim, and from Mahanaim to the boundary to the Lo-Debar. And in Jordan Valley, Beth Haram, Beth Nimar, Sukkos, Japhon, the other part of the kingdom of the Sihon, king of the Heshbon, with the bank of the Jordan to the southeastern tip of the sea of the Chinnerest. This city and their village were the heritage of the clan of the Gadite, Manasseh. This is what Moses gave to half tribe of the Manasseh, the half tribe of the Manassite by their clans had. Territory including Mahanaim, all the Bashan, the entire kingdom of the Og, king of the Bashan, and all the village of the Jar, which are 60 cities in Bashan. Half of Gilead with Ashtaroth and Edrei, royal city of the Og in Bashan, fell to the descendant of the Machir, son of the Manasseh, to half of the Machirite by their clans. These are heritage which Moses gave when he was in plains of the Moab beyond the Jordan east of the Jericho. But Moses gave no heritage to the tribe of the Levi, the Lord God of the Israel, in their heritage as he had promised them. Joshua chapter 14, the western tribes. These are the portion where the Israelites received as heritage in the land of the Canaan. Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the head of the family in the tribe of the Israelites determined their heritage by a lot as the Lord and commanded through Moses concerning the remaining 9.5 tribes. The 2.5 tribes Moses had already given the heritage beyond the Jordan. To the Levites he had given no heritage among them. The descendants of the Joseph formed the 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, but the Levites were given to no share of the land except city to live in, with their pasture land for the herds and the flocks. As the Lord had commanded Moses, so the Israelites did. They apportioned the land. Caleb's portion. When the Judahite approached Joshua in the Gilgal, the Kenizite Caleb, son of the Jephunneh, said to him, "You know the word the Lord spoke to Moses, the man of the God, concerning you and concerning me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to the Lycaonites, the land, and I brought back to him a frank report. My fellow scouts who went up with me made the people's confidence melt away, but I was completely loyal to the Lord my God. On that case, Moses swore this oath: the land where you have set foot shall become your heritage and that of your descendants forever, because you have been completely loyal to the Lord my God. Now, as he promised, the Lord has preserved me these 45 years since the Lord spoke thus to Moses while Israel journeyed in the wilderness. And now I am 85 years old. But I am still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me forth, with no rest of figure, whether it be Pharaoh or for any other tasks. Now give me this mountain region which the Lord promised me that day, as you yourself heard. Through the Anakim are there, with large fortified cities. But if the Lord is with me, I shall be able to dispossess them, as the Lord promised. Joshua blessed Caleb, son of the Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his heritage. Therefore, Hebron remained the heritage of the Kenizite, Caleb, son of the Jephunneh, to the present day, because he was completely loyal to the Lord, the God of Israel. Hebron was formerly called the Gilead's Arba, for Arba, the greatest among the Anakim, and the land had rest from war. Joshua chapter 15, boundary of the Judah. The lot for the tribe of the Judah by their clan fell toward the boundary of the Edom, the wilderness of Zin and the Negev in the extreme south. Their south boundary ran from the end of the Salt Sea, from the tongue of the land that faced the Negev, and went southward below the pass of the Akrabim, across through Zin, up to the point south of the Kadesh Barnea, across the Hezron, and up to the Ada, from there looping around the Gad. It crossed to the Azmon and then joined the Wadi of the Egypt before coming out at the sea. This is your southern boundaries. The eastern boundary was the Salt Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary climbed northward from the tongue of the sea toward the mouth of the Jordan. Up the Beth Hogla and the land north of the Beth Arba, up the Eben Bohan Ben Reuben. Thence the boundary climbed to the Dibor, north of the valley of the Achor, in the direction of the Gilgal that faced the pass of the Adumim. On the south side of the Wadi, from there it crossed to the wall of the En-Shemesh and emerged at the En-Rogel. Climbing again to the valley of the Ben Hinnom of the southern flank of the Jebusite, that is Jerusalem. The boundary rose to the top of the mountain at the northern end of the valley of the Rephaim, which bound the valley of the Hinnom on the west. From top of the mountain, it ran to the fountain of the water of the Nab, extend to the city of the mountain Ephron, and continue to the Bala or Kirias Jearim. From Bala, the boundary curved westward to the mountain Seir and passed north of the ridge of the mountain Jearim, that is Chesaron. It descended to the Beth Shemesh and ran across to the Timnah. It then extended along the northern flank of the Ekron, continuing through Shekaron and across to the mountain Bala, from there to the included Jabneel before it came out to the sea. The western boundary was the Great Sea and its coast. This was the complete boundary for the Judahite by their clans, conquered by Caleb. As the Lord had commanded, Joshua gave Caleb, son of the Jephunneh, a portion among the Judahite, namely Kirias Arba. Arba was the father of the Anak, that is Hebron. And Caleb dispossessed from there the three Anakim, the descendant of the Anak, Sheshai, Imam, and the Talmai. From there he marched against the inhabitant of the Debor, which was formerly called the Kirias Sephor. Caleb said to the man who attacks Kirias Sephor and captured it, I will give my daughters Ashar in marriage. Othniel captured in the son of the Caleb, the brother Gednez, so Caleb gave him his daughter Ashishas in marriage. When she came to him, she induced him to ask her father for some land. Then as she alighted from the donkey, Caleb asked her, What do you want? She answered, Give me a present, since you have assigned to me land in the Negev. Give me also pool of the water. So he gave her the upper and the lower pools, city of Judah. This was the heritage of the tribe of the Judahite by their clans. The city of the tribe of the Judahite in extreme southern district toward Edom were Gebzir, Eder, Jaguz, Kinas, Dimonah, Adadars, Gedesh, Hazor, and Itnan, Jib, Dalam, Pilos, Hazor Hadatas, and Gerios Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam, Shuma, Mulada, Hazor Gadad, Heshmon, Beth Balat, Hazar Shu'al, Bir Shuba, and Bizeotaya, Bala, Lim, Izem, Aldored, Chesers, Homar, Ziklag, Medmanard, Sasanars, Labos, Shimrim, and Ain and Rimmon, a total of the 29 cities with their villages. In the Shephelas, Eshtaors, Joras, Ashnars, Janoras, Enganims, Dabrais, Inam, Jamus, Adulam, Sokos, Azekad, Shalims, Aditimes, Gedala, and Gedalotim, the 14 cities and their villages. Jenan, Hadeshars, Mikad, Gad, Dilin, Mispeh, Joktiers, Lachish, Boscas, Agolons, Gabon, Lamas, Chirtilis, Kedalos, the Best Dagons, Namars, and Makedah, 16 cities and their villages. Libna, Etars, Ashan, Iptaz, Ashanaz, Nejips, Gilaz, Ajibs, and Mareshah, 9 cities and their villages. Ekron and its town and the villages. From Ekron to the sea, all town they lie alongside the Ashdod and their villages. Ashdod and its town and the village, Gaza and its town and the village, as far as the Wadi of the east and the coast of the Great Sea. In the mountain region, Shamrirs, Jatirs, Sokors, Danars, Kirias, Sanar, that is Dibor, Anabs, Eshtomel, Anims, Goshen, Horon, and Gilod, 11 cities and their villages. Arabs, Duma, Eshan, Zanim, Bes Tapua, Alfekar, whom thou Gilead's Arba, that is Hebron, and Zero, 9 cities and their villages, Mahon, Carmel, Zip, Judah, Jezreel, Joktim, Janoar, Cain, Gibeah, and Timrah, 10 cities and their villages, Harlus, Betjurus, Gidros, Maras, Bet Anos, and Al-Tekron, 6 cities and their villages, Tekoa, Ephrata, that is Bethlehem, Peors, Etam, Gulom, Tatam, Joras, Galim, Bertor, and Manokos, 11 cities and their villages, Kirias Bar, that is Kirias Jearim, and Labar, 2 cities and their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arba, Midim, Sekakars, Nishban, Il Halemar, and En Gedi, 6 cities and their villages. But the Jebusites who have lived in Jerusalem, the Jubites could not dispossess. So the Jebusites dwell in Jerusalem beside the Judahite to the present day. Joshua chapter 16. The Joseph tribes. The lot that fell to Josephite extended from Jordan at Jericho to the wall of the Jericho east of the wilderness. Then the boundary went out from Jericho to the heights at the Bethel. Leaving Bethel of the roots, it crossed the reach to the border of the Argite at the Adaros, and descending the western wall to the border of the Jebulite, to that of the lower Beth Horon, and to Gizel, and from there to the sea. Ephraim. Within the heritage of the Manasseh and the Ephraim, sons of the Joseph, the dividing line from the heritage of the Ephraimite by the clan ran from the east of the Adaros, Ada to the upper Beth Horon, and hence to the sea from Mikmetar on the north. Their boundary curved eastward around the Danas Shiloh and continued east of it to the Janoar. From there it descended to the Adaros and the Nara, and reaching Jericho, it ended at the Jordan. From Tapuar, the boundary ran westward to the Wadi Kanar and ended at the sea. This was the heritage of the Ephraimite by their clans, including the villages that belonged to each city set aside for the Ephraimite within the heritage of the Manassite. But they did not dispossess the Canaanites living in Gezerah. They live within Ephraim to the present day, though they have been put to forced labor. Joshua chapter 17. Now as for the lot that fell to the tribe of the Manasseh as the firstborn of the Joseph, since the Manasseh eldest son, Machir, the father of the Gilead, was a warrior who had already obtained the Gilead and the Bashan. The allotment was now made to the rest of the Manassite by their clans, the descendants of the Abijors, Halax, Asariel, Shechem, Harpha, and Shemida. These are the other male children of the Manasseh, son of the Joseph, by their clans. Furthermore, Zelophehad, son of the Harpha, son of the Gilead, son of the Machir, son of the Manasseh, had no sons, but only daughters whose name was Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These presented themselves to the Eleazar the priest, to Joshua son of Nun, and to the readers, saying, The Lord commanded Moses to give us a heritage among our relatives. So in accordance with the command of the Lord, a heritage was given them among their father relatives. Thus 10 shores fell to Manasseh apart from the land of the Gilead and the Bashan beyond the Jordan. Since this female descendant of the Manasseh received each portion among his sons, the land of the Gilead fell to the rest of the Manassite. Manasseh bordered on Asher from Mikmethath near Shechem. Another boundary ran southward to include the inhabitants of the En-Tappuah. Because the district of the Tappuah belonged to the Manasseh, although Tappuah itself was an Ephraimite city on the border of the Manasseh. The same boundary continued down to the Wadi Canal. The cities that belonged to the Ephraim from among the cities in Manasseh were those to the south of that Wadi. Thus the territory of the Manasseh ran north of the Wadi and ended at the sea. The land on the south belonged to the Ephraim and that on the north to the Manasseh, with the sea as their common boundary. They reached the Ashur on the north and the Issachar on the east. Moreover, in Issachar and in Asher, Manasseh was awarded the best Shion and its towns, Abiram and its towns, the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, the inhabitant of the Endor and its towns, the inhabitant of the Danar and its towns, the inhabitant of the Megiddo and its towns. The third is Naphtali's Dor. Since the Manassites were not able to dispossess these cities, the Canaanites continued to inhabit this region. When the Israelites grew stronger, that put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they did not dispossess them. Protest of the Joseph tribes. The descendant of the Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you given us only one lot and one share as our heritage? Our people are too many because of the extent to which the Lord has blessed us." Joshua answered that if you are too many, go up to the forest and clear out the prey for yourselves there in the land of the Perizzite and the Rephaim, since the mountain region of the Ephraim are so narrow. For the Joshaphite said, "Our mountain region are not enough for us." On the other hand, the Canaanites living in the valley region all have an iron chariot. In particular, those in the Beth-shan and its towns, and those in the valley of the Jezreels. Joshua therefore said to Ephraim and Manasseh, the house of the Joseph, "You are the numerous people and very strong. You shall not have merely one share. For the mountain region, which is now forest, shall be yours when you clear it. Its adjacent land shall also be yours. If, despite their strength and the iron chariot, you dispossess the Canaanites." Joshua chapter 18. The whole community of the Israelites assembled at Shiloh, where they set up the tent of the meeting, and the land was subdued before them. The seven remaining portion. There remained 7 tribes among the Israelites that had not yet received their heritage. Joshua therefore said to Israel, "How much longer will you put off taking steps to possess the land which the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you? Choose 3 representatives from each of your tribes. I'll send them to go throughout the land and describe it for the purpose of acquiring their heritage when they return to me. You shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah is to retain its territory in the south, and the house of the Joseph its territory in the north. You shall bring to me here the description of the land in 7 sections. I'll then cast the lot for you here before the Lord our God. For the Levites have no share among you, because the priesthood of the Lord is their heritage, while Gad, Reuben, and the half tribe of the Manasseh have already received the heritage east of the Jordan, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them. When those who were to describe the land were led for their journey, Joshua commanded them, "Go throughout the land and describe it. Return to me, and I will cast the lot for you here before the Lord in Shiloh." So they went through the land, described its city in writing in 7 sections, and returned to Joshua in camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast a lot for them before the Lord in Shiloh and divided up the land for the Israelites into the separate shares. Benjamin. One lot fell to the tribe of the Benjamites by their clans. The territory allotted them lay between the descent of the Judah and those of the Joseph. Their northern boundary began at the Jordan and went over the northern flank of the Jericho up eastward into mountain until it reached the wilderness of the Beth Aven. From there it crossed over to the southern flank of the Lut, that is Bethel. Then it ran down to the Ataros Ada on the mountain top south of the lower Beth Horon. For the western border, the boundary line swung south from the mountain top opposite the Beth Horon until it reached the Gilead Bar. That is Gilead Jearim. The city belonged to the Judahite. This was the western boundary. The southern boundary began at the limit of the Gilead Jearim and projected to the spring of the Nephtorah. It went down to the edge of the mountain on the north of the valley of the Rephaim, where it faced the valley of the Ben Hinnom, and continuing down the valley of the Hinnom along the southern flank of the Jebusite, reached the En-Rogel. Inclined to the north, it extended to the En-Shemesh and thence to Gilead, opposite the pass of the Adumim. Then it dropped to the Elven Burhan Ben Reuben. Across the northern flank of the Arabah, overlooked down into the Arabah. From there, the boundary continued across the northern flank of the Beth Hogar and extended northward to the tongue of the Salt Sea. Toward the southern end of the Jordan, this was the southern boundary. The Jordan bounded it on the east. This was how the heritage of the Benjamites by their clan was bounded on all sides. Now the city belonged to the tribe of the Benjaminites by their clan was Jericho, Beth Horgala, Amalek, Gethis, Beth Arba, Jamalim, Bethel, Avim, Bara, Oprah, Chalfa, Ammoni, Opini, and Giba, 12 cities and their villages, are also Gibeon, Lama, Beerlust, Mizpeh, Chaphilis, Mojar, Lechem, Irpils, Taralai, Zillah, Helep, the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem, Gibeis, and Gilead, 14 cities and their villages. This was the heritage of the clan of the Benjaminite. Joshua chapter 19, Simeon. The second lot fell to Simeon, the heritage of the tribe of the Simeonite by the clan lay within that of the Judahite. For their heritage they received Beersheba, Shema, Molada, Hazah, Shual, Bala, Ezem, Eltorad, Betuel, Hormah, Ziklag, Betma, Kabus, Hazah, Susa, Beth Labaos, and Sharuhan, the 13th city and their villages. Also Ain, Rimmon, Edo, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages. Besides all the villages around these cities, as far as Balas Beer, that is Lamos, Negev. This was the heritage of the tribe of the Simeonite by their clans. This heritage of the Simeonite was within the confines of the Judahite, for since the portion of the latter was too large for them, the Simeonite obtained their heritage within it. Zebulun. The third lot fell to Zebulunite by their clans. The boundary of the heritage was at Sarid. Their boundary went up the west and through Malir, reaching Dabeshash and the wadi that is near Joknim. From Sarid eastward, it ran to the district of the Jilos Tabor, on to the Dabalas, and up to Japhia. From there, it continued eastward to the Gaz Harp and to the East Gazin, extend to the Limon and turn to Niar. Skirting north of the Hanathon, the boundary ended at the valley of the Ephodias. Thus with Gatash, Nalalal, Shimron, Adalai, and Bethlehem, there is 12 cities and their villages. This was the heritage of the Jubulite. By the clan, these cities and their villages. Azakar. The first lot fell to Azakar, the territory of the Azakarite by their clans, included Jazrael, Chelsulot, Shumnam, Haphalim, Sihon, Analalas, Labis, Kishon, Ibez, Lemes, and Ganims, and Hadar, and the Best Bazaz. The boundary reached the Darbuj, Salajumar, and the Best Shemesh, ending at the Jordan 16 cities and their villages. This was the heritage of the Azakarite by their clans. These cities are their villages. Ashur. The fifth lot fell to Ashurite by their clans. Their territory included Helkas, Haris, Betens, Ashab, Alamelechs, Amad, and Mishal, and reached Carmel on the west and Shihor Libnas. In the other direction, it ran eastward of the Best Dagon, reached Zebulun and the valley of the Iphthites. Then north of the Best Emel and Nayar, it extended northward to the Kabul. Ebron's Rehov's, Hammon, and Cana near Great Sidon. Then the boundary turned back to the Ramah and the fortress city of the Tyre. Thence it cut back to the Hosa and ended at the sea. Thus with the Malaleb Ajibs. Umar's, Akuz, Afek, and Lehor, there was 22 cities and their villages. This was the heritage of the tribe of the Ashurite. By their clans, this city and their villages, Naphtali's. The sixth lot fell to the Naphthalite. Their boundary extended from Halaphaz, from the oak of the Jananims, including Adamic, Nekeb, and Jebnir, to Lakum, and ended at the Jordan. In the opposite direction, westward, it ran through Aznos Tabor, and from there extended to the Hakku. It reached the Zebulun on the south, Ashur on the west, and the Jordan on the east. The fortified cities were Zidim, Jor, Hamas, Lakas, Chinolas, Adamars, Lamas, Hazors, Kedesh, Edreis, and Hajos. Edon's, Migdal Eres, Horem's, Best Anas, and the Best Shemesh, 90 cities and their villages. This was the heritage of the tribe of the Naphthalite by their clans, this city and their villages. Dan. The seventh lot fell to the tribe of the Danite by the clans. Their heritage was the territory of the Jorad, Eshtoel, Shemesh, Shalabins, Izalons, Italas, Elons, Timnars, Akrons, Eltekos, Kilvetons, Balas, Jehud, Beni Halax, Gas, Rimons, Mezakon, and Bakon, with the coast at Joppa. By the territory of the Danite was too small for them, so Danite marched up and attacked the Resham, which they captured and put to sword. Once they had taken possession of the Resham, they dwelt there and named it after their ancestor Dan. This was the heritage of the tribe of the Danite by their clans. These cities are their villages. Joshua City. When the rest of them had received the portion of the land they were to inherit, the Israelites assigned the heritage in their midst to Joshua son of Nun. According to the command of the Lord, they gave him the city he recasted, Timnar's Seraph in the mountain region of the Ephraim. He rebuilt the city and made it his home. These are the heritage which Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the head of the family in the tribe of the Israelites, apportioned by lot in presence of the Lord. At the door of the tent of the meeting in Shiloh, thus they finished dividing the land. Joshua chapter 20, city of the refuge. The Lord said to Joshua, tell the Israelites, designate for yourself the city of the refuge of which I spoke to you through Moses, to which anyone guilty of the inadvertent and unintentional homicide may flee for asylum from the offense of blood. To one of this city the killer shall flee, and standing at the entrance of the city gate shall plead his case in the hearing of the elder of the city, who must receive him and assign him a place in which to live among them. Though the offense of the blood pursue him, they shall not deliver up to him the one who killed a neighbor unintentionally, when there had been no hatred previously. Once he has stood judgment before the community, he shall live on that city until the death of the high priest who is in office at that time. Then the killer may return home to the city from where he originally fled. List of the city. So they set apart the Kadesh in Galilee in the mountain region of the Naphtali, Shechem in the mountain region of the Ephraim, and the Kiryat Arba, that is Hebron in the mountain region of the Judah. And beyond the Jordan east of the Jericho, they designate the Bezor in the wilderness on the tableland in the tribe of the Reuben, Lamos in Gilead in the tribe of the Gad, and the Golan in the Bashan in the tribe of the Manasseh. These are the designated cities to which any Israelite or alien residing among them who had killed a person unintentionally might flee to the escape death at the hand of the offense of the blood, until killer could appear before the communities. Joshua chapter 21, Levitical cities. The head of the Levite family approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the head of the family of the other tribe of the Israelites, at Shiloh in the land of the Canaan, and said to them, the Lord commanded to Moses their city to be given us to dwell in, with a pastoral land for our livestock. Out of their own heritage, according to the command of the Lord, the Israelites gave the Levite the following city with their pastoral land. When the first lot among the Levites fell to the clan of the Kohathite, the descendant of the Aaron the priest obtained by lot from the tribe of the Judah, Simeon, and the Benjamin 13 cities. From the clan of the tribe of the Ephraim, from the tribe of the Dan, and from the half tribe of the Manasseh, the rest of the Kohathite obtained by lot 10 cities. From the clan of the tribe of the Issachar, from the tribe of the Asher, from the tribe of the Naphtali, and from the half tribe of the Manasseh, the Gershonite obtained by lot 13 cities. From the tribe of the Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun, the clan of the Maralite obtained 12 cities. These cities with their pastoral land the Israelites gave by lot to the Levite, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. City of the priest. From the tribe of the Judahite and the Simonite, they gave the following cities, and assigned them to the descendant of the Aaron in the Kohathite clan of the Levite, since the first lot fell to them. First, Kiryat Arba. Arba was the father of the Anak, that is Hebron in the mountain region of the Judah, with the adjacent pastoral land. Although the open country and the village belonged to the city had been given to the Caleb, son of the Jephunneh, as his holding. Thus to the descendant of the Aaron the priest were given the city of the refuge for homicide at the Hebron, with its pastoral land, also Libnah with its pastoral land, Zator with its pastoral land, Eshitemoa with its pastoral land, Holon with its pastoral land, Dibor with its pastoral land, Ain with its pastoral land, Judah with its pastoral land, and Beth Shemesh with its pastoral land, 9 cities from these two tribes. From the tribe of the Benjamin, they obtained the Gibeon with the pastoral land, Gibeah with its pastoral land, Anathoth with its pastoral land, and Almon with its pastoral land, 4 cities. These cities, which with their pastoral land belonged to the priestly descendant of the Aaron, were 13 in all. The city of the other Kohathite. The rest of the Kohathite clan among the Levites obtained by lot from the tribe of the Ephraim 4 cities. They were assigned with its pastoral land, the city of the Levi from the homicide at the Shechem in the mountain region of the Ephraim, also Gizor with its pastoral land. Gibjah with its pastoral land on the Beth Horon with its pastoral land. From the tribe of the Dan they obtained the Eltek with its pastoral land, the Gibbethon with its pastoral land, Aizalon with its pastoral land, and the Gaz and Rimmon with its pastoral land, the 4 cities. From the half tribe of the Manasseh, Tanakh with its pastoral land, and the Gaz and Rimmon with its pastoral land, the 2 cities. This city, which with the pastoral land belonged to the rest of the Kohathite clan, were 10 in all. City of the Gishonite. The Gishonite clan of the Levite received from the half tribe the Manasseh, the city of the Levi from the homicide at the Golan in the Bashan, with its pastoral land, and all Beth Ashtaroth with its pastoral land, the 2 cities. From the tribe of the Issachar, they obtained the Kishon with its pastoral land, the Dabolas with its pastoral land, Jarmuth with its pastoral land, and the Enganim with its pastoral land, the 4 cities. From the tribe of the Asher, Mishal with its pastoral land, the Abdon with its pastoral land, Helkas with its pastoral land, and the Lehor with its pastoral land, the 4 cities. From the tribe of the Naphtali, the city of the Levi from the homicide at the Kadesh in Galilee with its pastoral land, also Hamas with its pastoral land, and the Kartan with its pastoral land, 3 cities. The city which belonged to the Geshonite clans with their pastoral land were 13 in all. The city of the Merarite. The Merarite clan, the rest of the Levite, received from the tribe of the Zebulun and Jokinim with its pastoral land, the Qatar with its pastoral land, Dimna with the pastoral land, and the Nahalal with the pastoral land, the 4 cities. Also across the Jordan from the tribe of the Reuben, the city of the Levi from the homicide at the Bijor with the pastoral land, the Jahars with its pastoral land, Kedemoth with its pastoral land, and the Mephars with the pastoral land, of 4 cities. From the tribe of the Gad, the city of the Levi from the homicide at the Ramoth in Gilead with its pastoral land, the Mahanaim with its pastoral land, Heshbon with its pastoral land, and the Jajor with the pastoral land, the 4 cities in all. The city allotted to the Merarite clan, the last of the Levite, were therefore 12 in all. Thus the total number of the cities within the territory of the Israelites, which with their pastoral land belonged to the Levite, was 48. With each and every one of these cities went to the pastoral land round about it. And so Lord gave Israel the entire land he has sworn to their ancestors he would give them, once they have taken possession of it and dwelt in it. The Lord gave them peace on every side, just as he had promised their ancestors. Not one of their enemies could withstand them. The Lord gave all their enemies into their power. Not a single word of the blessing that the Lord had promised to the house of Israel failed. It all came true. Joshua chapter 22, the eastern tribe dismissed. At that time, Joshua summoned the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh, and said to them, "You have observed all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have listened to my voice in everything I commanded you. For many years now, even until today, you have not abandoned your allies, but have taken care to observe the command of the Lord your God. Now the Lord your God has settled your allies as he promised them. You may return to your tents, to your own land, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you across the Jordan. But be very careful to observe the commandment and the law which Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you. Love the Lord your God and follow him in all his ways. Keep his commandments. Hold fast to him and serve him with your whole heart and your whole self. Joshua then blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. For the half of the tribe of the Manasseh, Moses had assigned the land in the Bashan, and to the other half Joshua had given a portion along with their allies west of the Jordan. When Joshua sent them away to their tents and blessed them, he said, now that you are returning to your own tents with great wealth, with abundant livestock, with silver, gold, bronze, and iron, with a very large supply of the clothing. Divide this spoil of your enemies with your allies there. So the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh left the other Israelites at Shiloh in the land of the Canaan and returned to the land of the Gilead, their own land, which they had received according to the Lord's command through Moses, the altar beside the Jordan. When the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh came to the region of the Jordan in the land of the Canaan, they built an altar there at Jordan at impressively large altars. The other Israelites heard the report. The Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh have built an altar in the region of the Jordan facing the land of the Canaan, across from the Israelites. When the Israelites heard this, they assembled at the Shiloh as the entire Israelite community to take a military action against them, accusation of the western tribes. The Israelites sent Phinehas, son of the Elijah, the priest, to the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh in the land of the Gilead. And with him 10 leaders, one from each tribe of the Israel, each one the head of the one ancestral house among the clan of the Israel. When this came to Reubenite, the Gadite, the half tribe of the Manasseh in the land of the Gilead, they said to them, thus says the whole community of the Lord, what act of the treachery is this you have committed against the God of the Israel? This day you have turned from following the Lord by building an altar of your own. You have rebelled against the Lord this day. In this iniquity of the peoples not enough, by which we made ourselves impure, even to this day, and to plague came upon the community of the Lord. If today you turn away from following the Lord and rebel against the Lord, tomorrow we will be angry with the whole community of Israel. If you consider the land you now possess unclean, cross over to the land the Lord possess, where the tabernacle of the Lord stand, and share that with us. But do not rebel against the Lord, not involve us in rebellion, by building an altar of your own in addition to the altar of the Lord our God. When Achan, son of the Zerah, acted treacherously by violating the ban, was it not upon the entire community of the Israel that last fell? Though he was but a single man, he did not perish alone for his guilt. Reply of the eastern tribes. The Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh replied to the heads of the Israelite clans, the Lord is God of the God, the Lord the God of the God, and those and the Israel shall know, if you have acted out of the rebellion of the or treachery against the Lord our God, do not try to save us this day. And if we have built an altar of our own to turn from following the Lord to the sacrifice, burnt offering, grain offering, or communion sacrifice upon it, the Lord himself will exact the penalties. We did read out of the anxious concern, lest in the future you children should say to our children, what have you to do with the Lord, the God of Israel? For the Lord has placed the Jordan as a boundary between you and us, you Reubenite and the Gadite. You have no share in the Lord, thus your children would prevent ours from living the Lord. So we thought, let us act for ourselves by building this altar of our own, not for burnt offering or sacrifice. But as written between us and you and our descendant, that we have the right to provide for service of the Lord in His presence with our burnt offering, sacrifice, and the communion sacrifice. Now in the future, your children cannot say to our children, you have no share in the Lord. Our thought was that if in the future they should speak thus to us or to our descendants, we could answer, look at the copy of the altar of the Lord which our ancestors made, not for burnt offering or for sacrifice, but to witness between you and us. Far be it from us to rebel against the Lord or to turn now from following the Lord by building an altar for burnt offering, grain offering, or sacrifice in addition to the altar of the Lord, our God, which stand before His tabernacles. When Phinehas, the priest and the leader of the community, the head of the Israelite clans, heard what the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the Manassite had to say, they were satisfied. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, said to the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the Manassite, today we know that the Lord is our midst, since you have not rebelled against the Lord by the act of the treacherous. You have delivered the Israelites from the hands of the Lord. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, and the leader of the return from the Reubenite and the Gadite in the land of the Gilead to the Israelites in the land of the Canaan, and reported the matter to them. The report satisfied the Israelites who blessed God and decided not to take military action against the Reubenite and the Gadite, nor to ravage the land where they lived. The Reubenite and the Gadite gave the altar in its name as a witness among them that the Lord is God. Joshua chapter 23 is Joshua's final praise. Many years later, after the Lord had given the Israelites rest from all their enemies round about them, and when Joshua was old and advanced in years, he summoned all Israel, including their elders, leaders, church, and officials, and said to them, I am old and advanced in years. You have seen all the Lord your God has done for you against all this nation, for it has been the Lord your God who fought for you. See, I have apportioned among your tribes as the heritage the nation that survive, as well as those I destroyed between the Jordan and the Great Sea in the west. The Lord your God will drive them out and dispossess them at your approach, so that you will take possession of their land as the Lord your God promised you. Therefore be strong and be careful to observe all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, never turning from it right or left. While mingling with this nation that survive among you, you must not invoke their God by name or swear by them or serve them or bow down to them. But you must hold fast to the Lord your God as you have done up to this day. In your approach, the Lord has dispossessed a great and strong nation. Not one has withstood you up to this day. Whenever you put to flight 1,000, because it is the Lord your God Himself who will fight for you as He promised you. As for you, take great care to love the Lord your God. For if you ever turn away from Him and join with the remnant of this nation that survive among you by intermarrying and intermingling with them, know for certain that the Lord your God will no longer dispossess this nation at your approach. Instead, they will be a snare and a trap for you, a scourge for your side, and thorns for your eyes, until you perish from this good land which the Lord your God has given you. Today, as you see, I am going the way of the old earth, so now acknowledge with your whole heart and soul that not one of the all the promise the Lord your God made concerning you has failed. Everyone has come true for you, not one has failed. But just as every promise the Lord your God made to you has come true for you, so will He bring upon you every threat, even so far as to exterminate you from this good land which the Lord your God has given you. If you transgress the covenant of the Lord your God, which he enjoined on you to go and serve other gods, and bow down to them, the anger of the Lord will flare up against you, and you will quickly perish from the good land he has given you. Joshua chapter 24, Covenant Ceremony. Joshua gathered together all tribes of the Israel at the Shechem, summoning the elders, the leaders, judges, and the officials of Israel when they stood in ranks before God. Joshua addressed all the people, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, in time past your ancestors down to the Terah, father of the Abraham and the Nahor, lived beyond the river and served the other gods. But I brought your father Abraham from the region beyond the river and led him through the entire land of the Canaan. I made his descendants numerous and gave him Isaac. To Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. To Esau I assigned the mountain region of the Seir to possess, while Jacob and his children went down to Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron and struck Egypt with the plague with the wonders that I wrought in her midst. Afterwards I led you out. And when I led your ancestors out of Egypt, you came to sea, and the Egyptians pursued your ancestors to the Red Sea with chariot and charioteers. When they cried out to the Lord, he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, upon whom he brought the sea, so that it covered them. Your eyes saw what I did to Egypt after you dwelt a long time in the wilderness. I brought you into the land of the Amorites who live east of the Jordan. They fought against you, but I delivered them into your power. You took possession of their land, and I destroyed them at your approach. Then Balak, son of the Zippor, king of the Moab, prepared to war against Israel. He summoned the Balaam, son of the Beor, to curse you. But I do not listen to Balaam. Instead, he had to bless you, and I delivered you from his power. Once you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho, the city of the Jericho fought against you, but I delivered them also into your power. And I sent the hornet ahead of you, which drove them, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Gigasite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite out of your way. It was not your sword or your bow. I gave your land you did not till, and the cities you did not build to dwell in. You ate up the vineyard and olive groves you did not plant. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him completely and sincerely. Cast out the God your ancestors served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. If it is displeasing to you to serve the Lord, choose today whom you will serve, the God your ancestors served beyond the river, on the God of the Amorite, in whose country you are dwelling. As for me and my household, he will serve the Lord. But the people answered, Far be it from us to forsake the Lord to serve other gods. For it was the Lord our God who brought us and our ancestors out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of the slavery. He performed those great signs before our very eyes and protected us along our entire journey, and among all the people through whom we passed. At our approach, the Lord drove out all the peoples, including the Amorites who dwelt in the land. Therefore, we also will serve the Lord, for he is our God. Joshua in turn said to people, You may not be able to serve the Lord, for he is a holy God. He is a passionate God who will not forgive your transgression or your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve a strange God, he will then do evil to you and destroy you after having done you good. But the people answered Joshua, Now we will serve the Lord. Joshua therefore said to people, You are witnesses against yourself that you have chosen to serve the Lord. They replied, We are witnesses. Now therefore put away the foreign gods that are among you, and turn your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. Then the people promised Joshua, We will serve the Lord our God, and will listen to his voice. So Joshua made a covenant with the people that day and made the statute and the ordinance for them at Shechem. Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of the God. Then he took a right stone and set it up on the terebinths that was in the sanctuary of the Lord. And Joshua said to all people, this stone shall be our witness, for it has heard all the words which the Lord spoke to us. It shall be witness against you, should you wish to deny your God. Then Joshua dismissed the people each to their own heritages. Death of Joshua. After this event, Joshua, son of Nun, servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110, and they buried him with the blood of his heritage at the Timnath-Serah in the mountain region of the Ephraim, north of the mountain Gash. Israel served the Lord during the entire lifetime of Joshua and of those elders who outlived Joshua and who knew all the work the Lord had done for Israel. The bones of the Joseph which the Israelites had brought up from Egypt were buried in the Shechem in the plot of the ground Jacob had bought from the son of the Hamor, father of the Shechem, for the 100 pieces of the money. This was the heritage of the descendant of the Joseph. When Eleazar, son of Aaron, also died, he was buried on the hill which had been given to his son Phinehas in the mountain region of the Ephraim.